Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Bellingham. I'm pleased to welcome you here again for a wonderful day. And if you're new with us, remember that we have many other things happening. I'll tell you about them at the very end of this service. But you are more than welcome to sign up for our constant contact to receive announcements on a weekly basis in your email. Right now, to start us off, I'd like to invite Amber Darlin, our music director, to lead us in some songs.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I thought we'd start with this one, In the Name of Love by Gary Lynn Floyd. In the name of love, with a heart of grace, overflow in us, decorate this place. As it is below, so it is above. May we always stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song, all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love, may we always be seeking out the best till we are free. Living in a world we've been dreaming of, where we stand as one, in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song, all as one, in the name of love. One more time. In the name of love, in the name of love. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Bellingham Center for Spiritual Living, our online stream every week. We're glad you're here. Hey, take a minute if you're online and you're live chatting with us. Say hello to some of those friends in our spiritual community. This is a great time to connect with folks and let everyone know that you're tuned in, and say hello. Stay connected that way. All right, we are going to sing My Soul is Welcome Here. Thanks for singing along, everybody. We're going to move over to an invocational prayer by our practitioner of the day, Kalish Leviel.
Thanks, Amber. I know that we're in the right place at the right time, and it's right now. In the name of love, in the name of gratitude and joy, with this solstice and Father's Day weekend, bringing all of our light right here and right now, we are centered and we are ready for what this day brings to us, focusing on the joy and the beauty and the love. Thank you, sweet spirit. And so it is.
May I never lose my wonder. 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 Sing that with me. May I never lose my wonder. 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 Wide-eyed and mystified, may I be just like a child, staring at the beauty of the world. May I never lose my wonder. 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 Wide-eyed and mystified, may I be just like a child, staring at the beauty of the world. May I never lose my wonder. 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 I am whole. 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 All I need resides in me. 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 I am whole. 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 We're going to move over to our wonderful minister, Reverend Andrea Asebedo.
Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Kalish. Hi, everyone. Yes, today is a day we have set aside as a society to celebrate those who are fathers. And so my topic today applies to everyone, and particularly to those of you who have taken on parenting, which I believe is one of the most difficult spiritual paths you could engage in. So to all you parents out there, congratulations, you made it this far. Keep going. It's a real process of spiritual education and illumination as you go along. My topic today has to do with our monthly theme, which is what you see is all you get. What you see is all you get. And the topic for today is your apprenticeship is complete. And it's based on a quote by Wayne Dyer. It's also been attributed to Beverly Sills, another one of my favorite people. This is how it goes. Everything you need, just like Amber just sang about, everything you need, you already have. You are complete right now. You are a whole, total person, not an apprentice person on the way to someplace else. Your completeness must be understood by you and experienced in you as your own personal reality. So what I wanted to talk about today was being a spiritual adult. And I don't mean that you're not already being a great adult, but there's a certain capacity that is developed on the spiritual path that I experience as being a spiritual adult that I wanted to talk to you about. And it has to do a lot with what's going on in our world right now. For those of you who are joining us from other places than Washington State, let me bring you up to speed a little bit in case you hadn't heard. So a few weeks ago, there were protests in Seattle. And there's a place in Seattle that's called Capitol Hill. And the protests seemed to center around there at one point. And at that point, there was a lot of violence happening on the part of the protesters and the police engaging. And after that was completed, the city determined that they wanted to make Capitol Hill a zone where there was no police presence for quite a period of time. And that zone is now called the Capitol Hill Organized Protest. So it's called CHOP. And within the boundaries of that area, there's a lot going on right now. There's all kinds of things. There's memorials to people who have been killed. There are speeches that are given throughout the day by just people who want to share their thoughts. There's art happening. There's free market stuff going on. There's lots of opportunities for people to have dialogue about inequity and justice and things of that sort. And it's like this whole area, and it's just exploded with all this amazing human creativity in all of its different forms, human thought. And so I wanted to tell you about that because I wanted to talk a little bit about how that applies to you and me and all of us in the context of spirituality. So there was one of the original metaphysical people was Emily Caddy, and she was a part of Unity, and she wrote a book called Lessons in Truth. And there were 7 lessons. And one of the lessons was, no, there were more than 7 lessons, because I think it was the 7th lesson that's called chemicalization. And she put that in and wrote about it. And then at some point, long ago, decades ago, Unity decided to take that out of the manuscript for a while, but then they put it back. And the reason, I'm sure, I have no idea, I haven't talked to the Unity people about this, but I can imagine that one of the reasons they put it back was because it really does capture a stage of consciousness and experience on the spiritual path that has to do with becoming a spiritual adult. So I wanted to talk about chemicalization a little bit with you today. So I'm going to read you a little bit of what she had to say. Chemicalization is a condition of mind that is brought about by the conflict that takes place when a high spiritual condition contacts an old error state of consciousness. And this is what she says specifically. After a time, a sort of mental agitation takes place, and one can feel seared way down deep in the depths of oneself. What has happened? Well, simply there has been a clash between the old ways of thinking and the new way entering into you. You may have a feeling of discouragement, of fear, or agitation. Do not be frightened by these states. That which you feel is on the spiritual plane a similar excitement and agitation to that which is seen in a chemical reaction on the material plane. And something higher and better is always the result. Okay, so let me tell you what I think about all that. Sort of re-explain it in my words. So what's happening in our society right now, I believe, is chemicalization. And what I believe is happening is that a higher state of consciousness has been working its way through all of us who are sacred humans. And this higher idea, this higher state of consciousness has been seeking to be expressed. And it's come through this person and that person. It's come through, it's bubbled up in different persons of different backgrounds and different places. And we are in an experience where many, 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 many of us are aware and open and receptive to this higher idea of a world that works for everyone, and ideas of how we could do that, how we could manifest that. And so what happens whenever a higher state of consciousness is invoked, and a particular one that's going to sear us down deep all the way to the depths of our being, is it clashes with old ways of thinking and old ways of doing and old ways of being. And it sets up this kind of spiritual chemical reaction where the old kind of, she actually says in her talk about chemicalization, she says the old mortal self kicks in agitation and frustration at letting go of its old ways. And I don't know if you've experienced that. I sure have. I've experienced not wanting the change, but not wanting the way it's changing. So wanting the idea, but not wanting the way I have to go to get to the idea so that it can be fully manifested for me. Have you had that? I think a lot of people have. And the reason I chose this quote by Wayne Dyer is it says, okay, you're not an apprentice person anymore. Your apprenticeship is complete. You're not on the way to anywhere else. You are here, fully orbed. And then he goes on and says, your completeness must be understood by you and experienced in your thoughts as your own personal reality. And that's a really key line here for me, because what I've realized is I can have a really beautiful idea. I can have a lovely thought process about how things should be and how I want them to be, and I can head in that direction. But if my mind and heart and body are not entirely connected, I will start going in a direction, and then there'll be resistance from a different part of me. I'll give you a really simple example I saw the other day. Um, I'm going to say it was about me. It wasn't, but I don't like to use other people. Let's say that I was really embracing compassion and loving kindness and knowing that we're all one and that, the divine is present within all people. Namaste, to everyone. I see the God in you. You see the God in me. It's wonderful. And that's all such a beautiful concept. And I totally buy into that. I totally, totally, totally get that. It's an excellent way to relate to other sacred humans and all life in general. And then I am at Costco. And I have been waiting patiently with my basket. And I've been, namasteing in my mind to different people. When all of a sudden, this really, really, really loud, obnoxious person cuts in front of me and cuts into my line. What does my mind do? What does your mind do? My mind has not fully and completely embraced loving kindness at that point. It has not completely taken in the reality to the depths of my being so that no matter what anybody does, I still am able to offer loving kindness. I get there. Now, I get there. But not right away. Not like, just staying in that state. And that's what I'm talking about. When Wayne says, your completeness must be understood by you and experienced as your own thoughts and personal reality. So there's a down deep knowing that connects all the way through when we have an idea that has become our own at a deep level. So chemicalization, back to that for a minute, has to do with when we are working to uplift and up-level our state of consciousness. And we have embraced a new idea, a powerful idea, a better idea for our lives or the life of the planet or the life of our fellow sacred humans or whatever. We've embraced that idea. We're praying about it. We're asking for it to manifest. It starts to manifest. And we might as well be in that Costco line being cut off by a bully. All of a sudden, we meet our own bully inside. We meet our own resistance. And we have the opportunity to let the thought drop into a full experience of manifestation or see that it has not yet. And if it has not yet, we will undergo a process of chemicalization. Just like adding alkali to acid creates a fomentation and an agitation of the molecules, we will be agitated. We will be frightened. We will be discouraged. We will have different emotions arise depending on what we're encountering within ourselves in terms of old ways of thinking and old ways of being. And the reason I wanted to bring this to you is that, there's a couple different ways we can work with that. To be a spiritual adult means that we decide not to abandon ship and go back to our old ways and abandon beautiful ideas because they're too hard. I was reading to my mental equivalent class Tuesday from a book that Maria Nemeth wrote called Mastering Life's Energies. And early on in the book, she says, successful people do what they don't want to do in order to get where they need to go sometimes. And as a spiritual adult, we too, every time we hit this point of chemicalization, of meeting the resistance within ourselves, the old way of doing or being or thinking, and we're seeking to uplift, we are going to experience something or other, some agitation, some reaction. And an adult says, okay, this is hard, but this is worth my effort because what I'm aiming for will be an incredible gift to my own life as well as to the life of all those that I come in contact with. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about a story I heard that wanted to be told today. And it has to do with what happens after we are in the fomentation, agitation, chemicalization process, and we determine that we're going to go ahead and work on this. So it's one of the earliest stories we have in the Vedic Hindu tradition. And I heard Michael Meade tell it. So this is his version of that story. If you go online, which I did this morning, there's lots of versions of this story. But it has to do with the first man, is the way it's described. And his name is Manu. And by first man, Manu, they mean the first civilization. So it's not just one guy, but it's the first civilization. And this man, Manu, is very, very, very discouraged about the state of the world and the state of his civilization and what's been happening. He's known to be an upright and moral man, and he's walking along the ocean shore really, really bummed out. I mean, that's not how they say it in the Vedas, but you get the point. He's very disappointed with the world and with society. Maybe you feel that way right now. So he's walking along, and he's kind of like wishing he didn't have to be there, which is what happens when you're in chemicalization. You really don't want to deal with this hard stuff. So he's in that state when all of a sudden, from out of the ocean, a little fish pokes up its head and says, help me, the big fish are trying to eat me, help me, save me. And Manu sees the little fish, and it says his heart becomes full of compassion for this little fish. So he wades out into the water, and he scoops up the little fish, and he carries the little fish to a little fish bowl he has, and he starts to take care of the fish. And it's wonderful. He has an occupation, and so he's taking care of this little fish. But the little fish, because it's now being taken care of and it's protected, think the new idea when you hear little fish for a minute, okay? So the little fish is being taken care of it, and pretty soon it's too big for the little bowl that Manu has. So Manu looks around, and he finds a big tank, and he fills it with water, and he puts the little fish that's now bigger into the tank, and he thinks, okay, this is going to be good. And he's taking care of the fish, and the fish keeps growing. It keeps growing and growing, and pretty soon it's too big for the tank. And so he takes the fish, and there's a pond near his house, and so he takes the fish to the pond, and he thinks, okay, we're good now. This is a big pond. This fish is going to be fine. So he puts the fish in the pond, and he's taking care of the fish, making sure the fish has everything it needs, and the fish gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so finally he realizes it's too big for the pond. And so he realizes he's going to have to take this fish, this giant fish now, and carry it back to the ocean so that it can live in the vast, immense space of the ocean. So he picks up the giant fish now, and he carries the fish down to the water, and he sets the fish free into the ocean. And the fish goes out a little bit and then turns around and turns into the god Vishnu. Fish is one of the first emanations of Vishnu, the Hindu god of creation. And Vishnu blesses Manu and says, because of your generosity, when the giant deluge comes, I will help you to survive. And the story goes on. The Vedas are long, but that's just a snippet of the story. Vishnu does help Manu. So I heard the story. Michael Meade was telling the story somewhere where I was. And I was thinking, oh, that's right. When we're in the middle of feeling discouraged or frightened or agitated, one of the things that we can do to allow the new idea to be completely taken in to our whole being, as odd as it may seem, is that we can get our big people pants on, and we can offer generosity out into the world in some way. Why does that work? Well, in the story, what happens is that as Manu is tending to this fish with generosity and compassion and loving kindness, taking care of it, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And what begins to happen as we offer ourselves in loving service out into the world in whatever way we're drawn, the idea that we're seeking to manifest becomes bigger and bigger and more available and present to us. And the generosity and compassion and loving kindness that we're involving ourselves with to offer this service out into the world actually is like food for the new idea that's seeking to lift us into our next state of expression and consciousness. It's amazing. And so that's probably only one way, but I thought, well, you know, that's my way. And so I wanted to tell you about it because for me, from the time I was a little girl, loving service, selfless service offered to the divine through all the different forms of the world has been a pathway for me. I just seemed to have been born knowing that that was a good thing to do. And I'm sure my parents, you know, helped me with that. I had a lot of trouble with the Episcopalian little collection where I had a little tiny box that I put my allowance in and then I was supposed to give it to the church. That I didn't understand. But I did understand taking care of other people, offering assistance to the world in the form of taking care of plants and animals, doing things that, one of the things that was important to me as a child was doing it in secret. Of course, children like to do that. But as I grew into adulthood, I realized, oh, I was practicing a naive form of selfless service. I didn't want people to know who had done that good deed. I wanted it to simply go out from me and be in the world. So back to Capitol Hill for a moment and the organization of the protests and whatnot, and the creation of this zone where people are expressing creatively in so many different ways their grief, their anger, their hope, their frustration, anything and everything that is there for them. All of those states, in my view, are part of this larger idea that's seeking to be made manifest through all of us in the world, not just in the United States, but in the world. And it's part of the chemicalization to encounter resistance and get really, really frustrated or discouraged about it when it's at a societal level, because we tend to think something that's not actually true. We tend to think that we don't have any power to change it. And you and I know as metaphysicians that we do actually have power to change it. And the power begins by working in our own sphere of influence. It begins by understanding this whole process of invoking a larger, better, more wonderful way, meeting the resistance, the chemicalization that's going to hit when the new idea mixes with the old ways, and then watching the absolute transformation of the old into the new. And as we're watching, I was tempted to use the old butterfly, chrysalis thing, but it's a metaphor that's been overused. But I will say that Pema Chodron's teacher, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, used to say in his teachings that, when you've become a butterfly, you can't cram yourself back into the chrysalis. You don't fit there anymore. And likewise, we are no longer apprentices to the truth. We are spiritual adults living truth. That's who we are now. And in doing that, we each are called to better ideas, more awareness, a deeper understanding, a deeper way of experiencing and expressing ourselves in the world. And it's not easy. And it would be easy to allow the discouragement or the fear or the frustration to take over and lull us back into an old way of being and give up. Give up. I had a dear friend die this week who had given up. And it was the saddest thing to me that she died before she remembered that she can't do that. We can't do that if we want to continue to grow. We can't rest on the laurels that we imagine must be there somewhere we can sit on. No, the spiritual path is about growth and evolution. And so we can't cram ourselves back into the old chrysalis of ways of being that no longer fit with what we understand and know. Instead, we're called to the hard work sometimes of really integrating these ideas into our whole being so that, as Wayne says, your completeness is understood by you and experienced in your thoughts and also as your personal reality, meaning all the way through and through. I promise the work is worth it. I also want you to know that sometimes I don't remember that either, and then I do. And that's also part of the spiritual path, is remembering and forgetting, remembering and forgetting. And so I'm in one of those remembering times after having a little bit of a tussle in the chemicalization stage of my own development as I speak about global issues from a spiritual perspective. I hope this has been of value to you. I suspect that many of you are in the chemicalization process as we learn together how to open our minds and hearts, how to be in a world that we envision that would be one of equity, that would be one that where prejudices are let go so that everyone has an opportunity to live in the kind of world we all want to live in. If you're like me and you're going through a time like that, I want to encourage you to be like Manu, to offer yourself in loving service in some way, to allow that generosity to feed you and to feed the dream you have of a world that is your idea of bliss. So I'll do a prayer for that, and we'll hear a few announcements and then have a closing song. Join me in this prayer. I'll speak this for myself, but of course, know that I am speaking for you as well if you choose to accept this prayer. I accept and know that there is one divine energy that flows through all things, that inhabits all things, that is grounded and present within me, within everyone and everything. This one in me has brought all that it is to me and is operating through me and my deeply held ideas and thoughts, manifesting the reality that I am thinking and feeling about very faithfully, with no judgment, simply taking what I am and what I believe and what I feel and turning it into an outer experience. So I accept for myself a new awareness about all this. I accept that I have a tremendous amount of power because the presence of the divine is with me always, in its entirety, always with me. And it offers itself again and again and again to my deeply held new ideas. It has no limit in itself. It knows no limit for me. It has no judgment or need for anything to be a particular way. And now I accept that new ideas that are fresh and beautiful and take me to an even higher place of awareness and expression are supported by this indwelling presence, and they are now being made manifest. Anything unlike these ideas that is of old ways that no longer serve me or support me, I release with grace and ease, allowing them to go, knowing that they are the chrysalis that has held my spirit long enough for me to move into a larger expression, a different expression of great beauty. So I bless all that has been in my consciousness and in my reality, everything, every thought, every word, every person, every experience. I bless it and I release it, knowing that now a new state of awareness and expression is mine. And I'm grateful. I know that I am equipped to handle whatever chemicalization interaction is happening between the release of the old and the embracing of the new, and I'm ready for that. I'm grateful even for that, because it shows that I am indeed growing, and so it is. Okay, So a couple of announcements for you. Our 4-week book study on So You Want to Talk About Race is beginning this Thursday at 5 p.m. Goes for about an hour and a half, 5 to 6:30. And we would appreciate it if you would like to be part of this book study, that you do 2 things. The first is immediately today, email the center office at info@csl-bellingham.org and let us know that you want to be a part of the book study. We have about 40 people right now. And at the same time, make sure you have the book and you begin to read the book. We would really appreciate you reading the first 4 chapters before Thursday so that we can begin the discussion right away. The people leading this discussion, Heather Smith is one of our board members here at the center. She's also an educator. And Joanne Allison is assisting her in the Zoom process. And they're going to be on deck. So will I, but I get to be a participant while we have this beautiful discussion. So I hope you'll think about joining us if part of your new idea is to open your mind to understanding in a deeper way what we can do and how we can be in that arena. I'm still doing coffee and conversation on Tuesday mornings and Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. And that discussion it's evolved to about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half sometimes, but everyone has permission to leave when they need to leave. And we'd love to have you join our discussion if you'd like to. Often I just bring a spiritual idea, a poem, some notion that's intriguing me to start things off, and then we just share where we are in our lives and get to see each other. So it's a lovely thing to do if you'd like. If you would like to join me, you need to email me and let me know if you want to be a Tuesday person or a Thursday person. And my email address is andrea@att.net. Other things that are happening. Next weekend, we begin a 2-part prayer workshop. And this prayer workshop is being offered by our senior practitioners and our newly minted practitioners that just passed their last test yesterday. And so they're going to be offering a workshop on how to pray affirmatively and in a way that actually the prayer will manifest itself in your life. So it's a 2-parter. They're going to be offering it on Saturday at 1 o'clock and Sunday at 1 o'clock. It'll be offered through Zoom. So if you would contact the center office and let us know that you'd like to be part of the prayer workshop, there's no charge for it. This is their generosity and their love coming to you. They want to offer you the tools that have changed their life, and they know that it'll change yours. So feel free to join that prayer workshop if you would like. Just email the office and let us know. Let's see. July 5th. I don't know what you're doing for 4th of July, but July 5th is a Sunday. And if you are here in the Bellingham area, we are inviting you to do a drive-by of the center at 1 o'clock from 1 to 2. You can drive through. And the reason we're inviting you to do that is a lot of you are missing me and I'm missing you. So we get to see each other's faces in real time. But more importantly to me, our brand new practitioners who just passed their last hurdle and are newly licensed are going to be on hand with the entire practitioner unit who can be here, and hopefully some of our board members. And you can do a parade for them and wish them well and celebrate their success, and it'll be wonderful. So if you'd like to come, it's July 5th, 1 o'clock. And if we have overflow drivers, the radio station is allowing us to kind of line up over there and then come on through. We'd love to have you be a part of their celebration. So right now I'm going to hand this over to Amber, and have a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful week, and I hope to see you next week.
Thank you, Andrea. All right, well, let's sing out into this day. Thank you for this day, sweet Spirit. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing. My earpiece was falling out. Did you see that? Let's keep singing. Thank you for this love, Spirit. Thank you for this love, this healing, this healing, this healing love, this healing, this healing, this healing love. And for peace, thank you for this peace, Spirit. Thank you for this peace. Thank you for this peace, Spirit. Thank you for this peace, this healing, this healing, this healing peace, this healing, this healing, this healing peace. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Sing it again. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you all for being here today with us. Thank you for your donations to the Bellingham Center for Spiritual Living. And we'll see you again next week. Bye, everybody.